for Channel 1 News.
To the BBI debate, legislators attending the ongoing Building Bridges Initiative consultative meeting in Naivasha are scouring through the contents of the report with a view to adapting changes. National Assembly Leader of Majority Amos Kimunya disclosed on Sunday that constitutional experts are taking legislators through the contentious issues in a bid to find a solution that will lead to an uncontested referendum. Lawmakers allied to President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM party leader Raila Odinga are meeting at the Great Rift Valley Lodge over the recently unveiled BBI report. And the leader of majority in the National Assembly, Amos Kimunya, says the meeting that involves over 100 legislators from both houses of parliament was meant to discuss and forge the way forward on the report's recommendations.
What we are building this meeting on is on the document as is, as was released to the public. That's what we want to disseminate to our members of parliament. Now, if people have issues with it, then, or as a group of MPs or a group of senators or a group from one region, if they have issues with it and they want to make those proposals, there are several options available. The first thing is, let's clear this one as it is. There's no reason why you cannot have BBI too.
The Kipipiri MP denied claims that only MPs and senators who support the BBI report were in the meeting, insisting that all parties had been invited. On his part, Suna East MP Njue Mohammed, who is also the minority whip, has however ruled out amending the document, adding that Kenyans had ample time to give their recommendations, but that window has since closed.
Na kesho tutajadiliana namna ya kuelekea referendum, roadmap to referendum, after discussing the document. Baada ya kuelewana juu kuelezwa kwa kinagaubaga mambo gani yako ndani ya hiyo document.
Bungoma Senator Moses Wetangula noted that some section of the report needed amendments before a popular initiative is called.
I think it's the president who said nothing here is cast in stone, meaning he understood and appreciated the fact that a good idea will always give way to a better idea.
Conspicuously absent from the retreat are MPs and senators allied to the Deputy President William Ruto, with some of the leaders saying that they had not been invited for the two-day retreat. President Uhuru Kenyatta and former Prime Minister Raila Odinga are expected to grace the event on Monday, where the roadmap ahead of the referendum will be laid down. Moving on, Deputy President William Ruto has denounced alleged threats by proponents of the Building Bridges Initiative report directed at those who have raised issues touching on its contents. According to the DP, leaders must allow Kenyans to have a proper conversation on the document. The Deputy President, who was in central Kenya, insists that all sides must soften their stance in order to pave way for dialogue leading to a consensus instead of subjecting Kenyans to an expensive referendum.
Tutasimamisha rege ama tutasimamisha?
The Deputy President William Ruto has continued his tour of Mount Kenya, with Nyeri and Tharaka Nithi counties hosting him on Sunday. He will attend a church service at Presbyterian Church of East Africa, PCEA, where he called on leaders to stop using BBI as an avenue to divide Kenyans and instead focus on uniting the country on the BBI issue.
There is absolutely no reason why anybody would push this country to a divisive debate or to a contentious referendum. We can all agree it is not necessary unless there is another agenda beyond the Constitution.
Ruto said politicians should allow Kenyans to vet the BBI document and identify proposals that were omitted by the steering committee during their public forums. According to the Deputy President, it will be unfair if politicians ignore the proposals made by ordinary citizens aimed at addressing the social-economic challenges they face.
This referendum can cost us very little. We don't have to spend public resources in campaigning. We can agree through consensus so that there are no campaigns, and we can go together.
The Deputy President warned that a section of leaders keen on misusing the BBI report to revive their dwindling political careers want to force Kenyans to support the document in a hurry just because their issues have been well addressed in the document.
I know that there are those who believe that they can use this to revive their fortunes for the future. We want to tell them there are other ways they can achieve that. They don't have to divide Kenyans. Kila mtu anaweza kwenda kujitafutia mambo yake kwa kona yake.
His sentiments were echoed by leaders who had accompanied him, who insist that Kenyans will only support the BBI report if it has robust proposals aimed at transforming their fortunes.
Hawataleta guaranteed minimum return ya cash crops yetu, sisi tutapiga BBI. Lazima mkulima mdogo aambiwe akipanda majani chai, akipanda kahawa, akipanda ndengu, ni nini aswa atapata kama faida.
Kuna watu wa Njue wameenda leo kule Rift Valley Road ati wanaenda kutetea maneno ya BBI. Tunataka kuwaambia kama BBI ni ya kusikanisha wa Kenya, Njue wote waitwe.
Wamama wa soko wako na shida, hakuna maji, hakuna nini, alafu tunaambiwa na watu wengine tutumie bilioni 10 kwenda referendum. Munataka maendeleo ama referendum?
Ben Chumba, reporting for Channel 1 News.
Still on the BBI conversation, ANC party leader Musalia Mudavadi has implored politicians to tone down their rhetoric on Building Bridges Initiative report. According to Mudavadi, extremist arguments that have characterized the report must end up defeating the purpose for which it was intended by sowing seeds of discord in the country. He said this even as the section of legislature using the analogy the train has already left the station said those calling for a national consensus had enough time to share views before the report was compiled.
Mudavadi was in Ngong attending a church service at the Salvation Army. The ANC party leader would caution politicians who have taken a hard stance on the BBI report. He particularly warned those claiming that the window of negotiations to amend the document has been shut, terming them dishonest.
Wafungue dirisha kidogo yale ambao bado ni mazito kwa roho za watu washauriane, yapigwe musasa, tuwe na kile tunasema non-contested referendum.
BBI is for all of us, na BBI inatakikana iunganishe Mkenya wote, na wote tuimbe wimbo mmoja, tusikue na mambo ya kusema iko yes or no.
But a section of legislators attending a church service at the Friends Church Kabete will hear none of it. The group allied to President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM leader Raila Odinga faulted those recommending a national dialogue on the report, claiming this was an attempt to derail a process which is already complete.
Either to join us, ama atapaki huko nje. 2005, when we went for the referendum, President Uhuru Kenyatta and Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga were on one side, and we won. 2010, the same thing. This year, we are going to pass the referendum.
Wewe ambao unatuambia ya kwamba BBI unataka iangaliwe, BBI inataka iangaliwe, wewe ulikuwa wapi ambao hukupeana maoni yako? Tunakujua saa hii, sisi watu wa Central ambao unadanganya sana. Watu wa Central, one man, one vote, one shilling, iko kwa ile ya BBI. Kwa hivyo hutatudanganya Central, wewe enda udanganye watu wengine, watu wa Nairobi wetu tumesema.
In the meantime, a section of Maa leaders have expressed support for the BBI report, amplifying calls to have all Kenyans rally behind the document, which they said has addressed matters such as the long-standing marginalization of the Maa nation.
And we shall play our active role within BBI. If there are some few things here and there that we need to fine-tune, we will fine-tune while we are what? Inside, not outside, my friend.
BBI ambayo inatuletea ugatuzi wa resources hadi kwa ward level. Only a madman can say no to that BBI.
You decide to either support BBI or oppose it. Because as Masai, we say, a man can only make two decisions, to accept or to reject.
About 99%, hii document iko sawa.
na tunaomba Wamasai wetu wote na kabila zote ambao wako katika Narok tuangalie hiyo document.
In Kisii, a renowned businessman is appealing to government to have the BBI report translated in local dialects in a bid to have all Kenyans comprehend its contents.
Ningeomba serikali kama itawezekana ifanye translation ya hii maneno ya BBI ili tusiache Wakenya wengine nje. Kuna wenye walikuanga mashule, kuna wenye hawakuwa mashule. Kwa hivyo BBI tuisome kwanza. Tutapeana, we'll give directions when time comes. Wakati tumesoma BBI vizuri.
And the caucus of young Nyanza leaders has expressed its support for the BBI report, noting that if implemented, it will strengthen the peace, unity and stability of the country.
And we are not supporting with reservations, and we are not putting our interest first and saying if this is not done to us, we will not support it.
Suleiman Yeri, Channel 1 News.
And still on the BBI report, I'm now joined by Tom Ojanga, who is a political strategist and also a political analyst. And Karibu.
Thank you very much.
And because of the interest of time, straight to the discussion. We have seen some legislators in Naivasha, and conspicuously absent were legislators allied to the DP. What do you make of it?
Well, I can't comment on that because I don't know the circumstances that led to that. But nevertheless, what I need to say is the BBI is a very, very good document for this country. Mm-hmm. It's a very good initiative for this country. The product of the BBI, the document, is a very good thing. Mm-hmm. And as you know, of course, it seeks to unite the country and also to provide a stable environment for development and growth going forward. So seen from that perspective, it's a very good thing and must be supported. However, I think that you cannot seek to unite the country. Let me put it this way. BBI has got three parts. Number one is the initiative, which is a project. Mm-hmm. Then the product of the project, which is the report. Mm-hmm. And then there's the implementation part.
Yes.
So the Building Bridges initiative is not contested. Mm-hmm. Because everybody seeks unity in this country. Everybody supports the idea that we should be unified as a country and we should have a stable environment that would enable capital to grow, wealth to be created, all right? Mm-hmm. The report has got several recommendations. Of course, we are a nation of many people. It's not expected that everybody will agree with every section or every segment of the report. But most importantly, we cannot use a binary process which is divisive to accomplish the goals of an initiative that seeks unity.
Indeed. And talking about we cannot be divided, a delicate balancing act. Some people talking about we need some of these things factored in. Women legislators have raised issues. People living with disabilities have raised issues. Even the senators have raised issues. Do you have the time to go back to the drawing board and factor in all the comments or even all the recommendations some people are suggesting in the report?
There are two things. I mean, first and foremost, we need to have what we have implemented, right?
Yes.
And in a situation like this, there will always be additions that are needed, and those can come later. But most importantly, we need to figure out how to implement in a way that is not dividing the country what we have today, which was launched and endorsed on the 26th. So I think this is critical. We need to make steps that would lead us to have that guaranteed or that unity that we seek to have, right?
Yes.
The rest can then come on top. But there are many ways to achieve that. You could have a binary matrix in which citizens are allowed to digitally score the different sections. And that would result into a very non-contentious, BBI endgame.
And how possible is it as everybody, some people are talking about, no, that window was already closed, you guys never raised your concern in good time. Is it really possible? Do we have that time? Remember, we also have the 2022 general elections that have less than 2 years.
One of the problems we've had in this country is that every 5 years we have a cycle of instability.
Yeah.
And as you know, capital fears instability, and therefore we actually stagnate our growth through that. So it's important that the BBI is implemented before elections, so that we do not get into the next election with a very poisoned environment. So I think everybody, the political establishment in this country, must be willing to give and take.
Yes.
You know, at the end of it all, we all seek that unity. We need that stability, and therefore we need to move forward towards that.
And looking at the BBI report, and of course, Haji team has almost completed their work, and there are other people who will be tasked to pick it from there. What will be the mandate of those people who will now steer the process from where we are right now? Because all what we have now is the document.
Yes, I think the mandate should be that they have the BBI report implemented in a way that does not divide the country. That should be paramount. Because if we have a divisive implementation process, then we negate the initial idea and objective of the BBI, which is to unite the country. So we cannot unite the country by having a divisive process. You know, that would negate us. So I think the core mandate should be to have the implementation of the BBI report in such a way that the country does not end up divided. I think that's really key.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there are calls that people should read. Actually, the clarion call by the president and the former premier is that get the document and read it. Some people have raised concern about the civic education. Others have raised concern about the document should be translated to local dialects so that all the Wananchis can actually understand the contents of the document. We have even had that time.
There should be. I mean, everybody supports the Building Bridges initiative. Not everybody is in support of the entire content. I mean, there are sections that people support, other sections of the entire content of the report. But political leaders must take it upon themselves to sensitize the people they represent, so that we move forward as a country that is united. You understand what I mean? So yes. It has to, it must involve political leadership. It must involve the various organs that have been created to see that this happens, so that the people on the ground also get to have an understanding of this. Yes.
And indeed, let's get the figures. The IBC talking about we're going to spend 14 billion, and the former premier talking about no, it's about 2 billion. The cost, actually, the 14 and 2 billion seem to be two very big disparities.
Yeah, but
the cost of
you
democracy.
can only talk about the cost of implementation if you know the method of implementation. You know, because
so they're
on what basis have they done the calculation, the cost estimation? You understand? So that's talk which is very irrelevant at this moment in time. First and foremost, we must all agree on how we are going to implement the report of the Building Bridges initiative and how we are going to seek that unity. That's very important. And then we can talk about the methods and how much that costs. But I think it's not the right time to start talking about cost, because it's when it's scary. Everybody wants unity.
Yes. And we have seen political leaders and party leaders, the likes of Moses Masika Wetangula, we've seen Mudavadi, we've seen Ngilu, all party leaders actually drumming up support for the BBI. Is it a big boost, and especially coming from leaders who have their own political parties and interests as well?
Yes. I mean, they should do that. That's what is expected of them. As a matter of fact, every Kenyan should support the initiative, because the initiative seeks to unite the country. Just on that basis, every Kenyan should support the initiative. You know, without unity, without stability, we can't have economic growth, and we can't have a better society for ourselves. So we need to. The BBI should lay the foundation for unity and stability going forward. From that angle, we should all accept and support the BBI. The most contentious issue is, however, the implementation. If you go through a referendum that is contested, then you negate the purpose of the BBI.
And of course, we've seen a delicate balancing act, some hardline stance, and both sides are talking about we need to come together at a common ground. Let's meet at a common ground. Is it really possible? You're hearing that if you're not going to do this, we are not going to do this. We are not going to pass. You've had some of the stories that we have run.
Yeah.
How can we actualize a common ground?
I think political rhetoric should be toned down, because we all need this unity. We all need this stability. It's important for, I mean, you know, it's capital does not thrive where there is instability. You need capital to be able to create wealth for this country. You need to protect what we already have, and we need to give room for the creation of more capital and growth, right? And that is not possible without unity and without stability. And that's what the BBI seeks. So we should move away from political contest. You know, there's no political contest in the BBI because the country needs unity and stability. There shouldn't be any political contest in that. However, the new team must then move forward to accommodate everybody so that we get to have a document that unites us before we go for elections in 2022.
Indeed. And what would be the role of the House leadership? Of course, we've seen a couple of months ago there were changes in the House leadership, and especially in steering, because this document will still end up in Parliament. And we've seen Amos Kimunya, of course, talking about, yes, we need to be passing, and of course his counterpart at the Senate talking about the same.
We should stop suspicion first. We must have the goodwill to trust our leaders to do the right thing for the country. You know, we have the tendency of creating suspicions where there should be none. You know, but the leadership of Parliament have been chosen by the various political formations to do what they have to do. And I think, from what I saw on the 26th, is that every political formation agrees that the BBI is an important thing for this country, and it's an important initiative, an important document. The report that it produced is an important document for this country. So from there, let's pick it from there and push it forward and get this country moving forward.
Are we likely to see political, perhaps, amalgamation or political alignments in line with the 2022 election, which is less than 2 years ago, and especially when it comes to the BBI report?
I think if we implement the report and if we create unity, there will be a lot of opportunity for political formations to form coalitions and to merge, maybe, because then those things that that divide us shall have been eliminated, so that we then focus on political ideology, political programs, as opposed to those little things that have divided this country for the longest time possible, like tribalism, you know, and those other sums.
Do you think, as we wind up, do you think that we can have that non-contested referendum? Because earlier on we had talked about a non-contested referendum, and you said very well, if we don't have we have a contested referendum,
That's the wrong way to go.
It beats the logic of the building bridges.
Absolutely. I think it's possible to have a non-contested referendum. There are also many other ways to reach consensus without necessarily having these acrimonious discussions that we experience day in, day out. So I think the political leadership must take it upon themselves to move towards you know, conversation that unites the country, as opposed to you know, rhetoric that divides the country.
Indeed. And unfortunately, we are out of time, but thank you so much for joining us and for your insight, Tom. We have been talking to Tom Ojanga, who is a political strategist and also a political analyst, just trying to shed light on some of the things that have transpired since the document was released or was launched on Monday last week to today, with the politics going on and on. And of course, talking about politics, we also have the COVID issue that is all over the county, with today actually crossing the 1,000 mark. Thank you so much for watching, but don't go away because we'll be right back with more news.
Naishi Kawangara stage 2. Nilikuwa nasomea primary school, ilikuwa inaitwa Emmanuel Glory Academy. Sikuwa naona kama naweza join high school, but my teachers waliniambia kama kwenyu hamujiwezi kujoin high school, sasa mkiwork hard class tutawasaidia kujoin program ya Wings to Fly. I worked hard and I got scholarship. I was able to be among the chosen few. Form 2 tumeingia hivi, term ya kwanza walilipia. Sasa kukatokea na hii pandemic ya coronavirus, wakatuambia tukuje home. Mtu kama mimi sasa nilianza kushtuka, sasa nikasema nitasoma aje sasa. Wings to Fly program ikaleta hizi radio na solar zitusaidie kuniwezesha kuendelea kusoma hata kama ni usiku. Equity wao wanatupatia pesa kidogo ya mahitaji hapa nyumbani. Saa zingine nakanga tu chini naambia Mungu asante kwa kunisaidia nilijoin hii program. Najua naweza achieve dream yangu siku moja to become a lawyer, but kasi Wings to Fly singeweza kufika hapa hata kwenye nipo.
Kiswahili for form 2 coming up right now.
Unajua nini mama? Niko karibu kwenda shule na sitaki kuwa na stress kukuhusu.
Kristi, hebu rudi shuleni.
Wewe enda mtuwakilishe sisi wale tulishindwa na masomo vipoa.
When Angela and Christy meet at the university, their bond somehow clicks.
Dad is somewhere up there in the sky on his way to China. I'll never forget when he took us to Singapore. Wow, it was fun.
Followed by a friendship that would defy their parallel backgrounds.
Since umezoea shower, good luck inside there.
How is this door shut?
Kuma bezi nuko mshoishikilie mlango kwa frame.
This new territory presents all manner of fasts as influence, temptation, family histories, and peer pressure set in. The rest of their lives become a story of love, survival.
Wewe. Please mom, kubali tu story tumalizane twende home.
Influence, backstabbing, jealousy and revenge.
Niambia tu kule stage muonekana na minji fulani mkikama hapa mtaani.
He decided to sneak from the hostel and go to Ray's studio without consulting me or Tiff.
Join us on Tempted the Campus Diaries as we explore this hilarious never seen before drama.
Hebu nilipe pesa zangu wewe.
With a touch to behold. A story of temptation. Tonight on the next episode of Ashoka.
How could he kill those innocent soldiers? He tried to loot the royal treasury. Acharya, what could have driven him to do so?
What games are you playing with me? Why has Helena sent this to you?
Nilipochukua hii loan, hatukuwa tunajua kwamba ugonjwa wa corona utaingia. Tuka-apply tuweze kupunguziwa ile pesa ambayo tunalipa weekly.
Next on.
Look, young man. Sorry for intruding, but I've never seen my girl happy with you. Not even with your so-called reconciliation, and right now I don't know what's going on, but you're going to answer to me. Do you understand?
Perfectly.
Uhusiano wangu na Equity kwa hakika umenisaidia.
Welcome back, and in case you just join us, this is Channel 1 Weekend. We're glad you're watching. Moving on, the Anglican Church of Kenya is pushing for the construction of a monument and a church next to the burial place of the institution's founder, Dr. Johann Ludwig Kraft's wife and daughter in Rabai, Mombasa, in their honor. According to Archbishop Jackson Nasore Ole Sapit, the move will act as one way of celebrating the family of the first missionary to land in Kenya in 1844.
The Anglican Church of Kenya is celebrating 50 years of existence in the country. The history of ACK dates back to 1844 when the first missionary, Dr. Johann Ludwig Kraft, arrived in Mombasa. SCK has since grown to 40 dioceses in the country. Reflecting on the contribution of Kraft's family, the church's Archbishop Jackson Olesapit is urging the national government to construct a monument of his wife and daughter at their resting place in Rabai.
Last week I was in Mombasa. I went to see the grave where his wife and the child was buried, and a little monument was erected. And Your Excellency, as the Anglican Church, we want to make an appeal that you team us with the national museums to protect that little place where the first entry of Christianity began, and allow us to erect a chapel, which we shall call the cradle of Christianity in East Africa, so that people will worship and remember the entry point of the Word of God.
Olesapit says the church is additionally working to construct a chapel at the site in honor of the two who perished shortly after arriving in Kenya in 1844. Kraft was buried at the First Anglican Church in Ikudha, Makueni County.
But he lived in a small island where the creek created, when the tide is high, it encircles a little hill. And we went to visit that hill called Chikaikai. Again, Your Excellency, we want to erect a monument to remind us of the first journey of Ludin Kraft before he landed in Rabai. Because it was in that little island, he was able to communicate with the fishermen who are coming until they knew he was not a slave master.
He spoke during the commemoration of the SCK's 50th anniversary. Olesapit said the celebrations offer the church an opportunity to reflect on the past as well as strategize for the future in relation to the salvation of the church. President Uhuru Kenyatta commended the Kenyan church for being at the forefront to drive socio-economic and political change in the country. Uhuru lauded the church for efforts made to the country's political stability and empowerment of the society.
And I will go even a step further, because not only have you been involved very heavily in not just spreading the gospel, but also in participating in education, in health, and many other social activities that have gone to improve the lives of your fellow citizens. But I think I can say without fear that the church has also been at the very center of the social, economic, and political history of our country.
Irene Mchuma Odim, Channel 1.
Elsewhere, Environment Cabinet Secretary Keriako Tobiko asserts that no specific community is targeted in the ongoing efforts to restore Mau Forest Complex. According to Tobiko, the evictions of persons who encroached into the forest is a collective government decision aimed at reclaiming the country's biggest water catchment area. He said this amid plans to put a fence around the forest.
Speaking during the launch of a tree planting program in Masai Mau Forest, Environment Cabinet Secretary Keriako Tobiko reiterated that no community is being targeted in the eviction of illegal settlers in the forest.
Hatukuuliza kama wewe ni Masai na hatukutaka kujua kama wewe ni Kalenjin, Masai, Turukana, Jaluo, whatever. We never wanted to know, and it was not important, and still is not important, about tribe. Because our environment knows no tribe.
Tobiko says the government has a sole mission of restoring the forest for the posterity of the current and future generations. While acknowledging support by residents to restore the forest, Kenya Forest Chief Conservator Julius Kamau revealed that over the last 1 year, Kenya Forest has managed to plant 1.4 million trees and now targets to plant another 100,000 trees.
Once people keep off from the forest ecosystem, the nature itself is helping us. So we are planting, but also the nature is helping us through natural regeneration. And yesterday I was able to actually see a lot of natural regeneration coming up. And with those combined effort, I'm very sure in the next couple of years, this area will be different from what it is today.
During the tree planting exercise, Acting Water Towers Director Julius Tanui disclosed that plans are underway to put a fence all around the water catchment area.
We have a new project known as Securing. Securing is a project which is going to attract, or rather get the funding from the GOK, which will go a long way in fencing not only these particular water towers, but other water towers in the country.
Ben Chumba, reporting for Channel 1 News.
Now, uniformed officers often put their lives on the line to defend the country's territorial integrity from internal and external threats. And among the uniformed officers are men and women who put their lives on the line to defend the country's flora and fauna. The forest rangers' sole responsibility is to guard vegetation from illegal loggers and charcoal burners and those keen on encroaching onto forest land. Our reporter Emily Kbade spent some time with this group of foot soldiers with their boots on the ground, who remain the first and the last line of defense in guarding the forest. She brings us a first-hand account of a typical day in the life of a forest ranger. Take a look.
Early morning in Mbobut Forest. The forest rangers are gearing up for another day in the office, or should we say in the forest. This is one of the forests in the country that is heavily guarded. It is often a target for invasion by illegal settlers, unauthorized persons seeking to graze their livestock, illegal loggers, and cattle rustlers seeking to hide stolen livestock. In the last 5 years, the Kenya Forest Service has managed to recover and rehabilitate about 21,935 hectares of land that has been encroached on.
By 2015, all the occupants or the encroachers had been moved out of the forest. And that is when the operation was downscaled from a multi-agents operation team to only Kenya Forest Service team.
The outside splendor of the green forest with tall trees and beautiful flowers doesn't tell the tale of dark secrets within the forest, nor the danger it poses to those who dare to venture into it, as well as those tasked with guarding it. Inside the forest, the terrain is rough and the temperatures are quite cold. But despite this, the rangers are not afraid to guard the forest from those seeking to cut down trees for profit at the expense of the ecosystem.
It's an area inhabited by armed criminal gangs. And some of these gangs, we have so many series of attacks to our rangers.
David Rono, the commandant Mbobut Forest, lays bare the reality of forest rangers. He says securing the forest is not a job only left to the rangers. The local community must be involved.
We had several injuries from Kenya Forest Service rangers and community scouts. Community scouts who assist us in protecting this significant ecosystem.
Although the Kenya Forest Service has been working with the communities living adjacent to the forest, it is not always a rosy affair.
They are occasioned by unruly mobs wanting in bailing for their lives, but they have been able to come up with this situation without a lot of injuries and that it tells you we are unique. We are a unique force, and we really want to encourage the forest ranger to continue doing so, to be able to actually also send a message that we are different. And actually, it is us sometimes, in most cases, who have found ourselves being victims rather than the other way around.
Meet Isaac Odero. He is a forest ranger who has had to bear the wrath of those keen on benefiting illegally from the forest. The 5th of July this year will remain etched in his mind. A visit to the nearby market while he was off duty would see him attacked by a group of 3 boys, leaving him with serious injuries.
Wakawa wanadimandi ya kwamba hizo soka yao na mapanga hizo nitawapea ama siwapei. Kawa mimi tukawa na majibizano, nikiwaambia ya kwamba soka na mapanga yenye tulipata msituni hatukupata nyinyi pale. Hadi sasa tumeziretain for further reference. hatujui wenyewe, na kama ni zenyu si hapa kwa posho mill, please mkuje kambi on Monday, alafu tuone, mweleze kama ni zenyu tulipata wapi na yenyu ni gani. Hapo ndio walikasirika, wakinilazimisha ya kwamba nitoe hizo vitu. Sasa hapo ndio walianza kunifamia, wakinichapa mimi kichwa, kachapa mimi mgongo, na ndio wakachapa hii mguu. Hii ilichapwa na rungu, ilikuwa ndani ya gambut mara pili.
But the one incident that changed the mode the Forest Service relates with the community took place in Londiani Forest Station late last year.
So I think in the process, nobody asked what was happening. They responded to the gunshots they had, and their response was to stone the ranger and burn the motorbike. It was a very sad afternoon because he had nobody to assist him, and what happened was that we had to move in from the EC.
Stephen Kahunyo, the ecosystem conservator at Kericho County, says the Community Forest Association doesn't offer full protection for the rangers, as some community members are hostile.
And we noted that the same community, we feel that we are part and parcel, sometimes may make some decisions which are not protection related. The same community we think we can rely on sometimes can turn against us.
Some rangers have been left with permanent scars and disabilities after being attacked by illegal loggers and charcoal burners.
Kwa ile harakati tumewasurround, ni kama wakasikia moja yetu aki-advance, wakaanza mbio. Kwanza mbio waka-advance kama wanaelekea pande bali niko. Kuniona waka-change route. Kuchange route, nikaanza kuwafuata nyuma tukiwa wote watatu. Tukawafuata nyuma kidogo, kufika mahali wakapata kuna msitu imefungana kabisa. Mmoja akaweza so mimi nilikuwa karibu na wao nikifuata karibu. Mmoja akatana na alikuwa na shoka. So kwa hiyo harakati ndio nikasikia ameniwekea shoka hapa kwa kichwa.
Nilikuwa nikipatrol kwa kawaida na nikampata mtu ambaye anaitwa Samuel Kipkogei. Alikuwa ameangusha miti na alikuwa ana cross akitaka kupepa. Na nilipomuuliza ni kwa nini unafanya hivi, akanirukia na akanikata mikono ikatoka. Na baadaye nikaona niko na panga na sikuelewa vile hata nilipata, kwa sababu inji ilikuwa kiza. Na kwa bahati nzuri kulikuwa na nearby farmers wenye walikuwa analima feli. Na hapo nikarudi mahali nilikuwa nikatiwa, nikaenda nikaokota mkono yangu na nikapandishwa pikipiki mpaka Chepkorio dispensary.
Kazini maneno na windfalls ikatokea. Miti ikatoka ikaanguka. Ikaniangukia the right leg. So ikafunja. Wakati ilifunja nikapelekwa hospitali. Tenwek Hospital. Kufika huko nikaambiwa hawawezi tengeneza tena kwa sababu bone marrow ilikuwa imeingia na mchanga.
Tukaenda tukakutana na wanaume wawili armed na mapanga, very sharp pangas. Hawakungoja tuwa interrogate, waliona tu tumekutana ni kumalizana, ni vita. Akanirudia sasa kwa mkono wa kushoto. Akanikata ikanichonga hivi.
According to Alex Lemarkoko, Chief Commandant, the service has come up with ways to ensure that the welfare and facilitation of the forest rangers is taken care of. Lemarkoko also revealed they have embarked on an ambitious agenda to provide up-to-date equipment to track and report on activities within the park. He pointed out the rangers will also be trained and provided with adequate and ideal housing, uniform, risk allowance and medical cover.
A challenge in terms of access control, in terms of provision of security, in terms of sentries to secure the government establishments in the forest. Then we have a very big challenge, and I will call it a time bomb. If probably we don't get support to have more rangers, we are likely to lose huge chunks of our forests.
KFS Chief Conservator of Forests Julius Kamau said being a ranger is a calling and a commitment as they safeguard at least 2.5 million hectares of forest land. He pointed out a forest ranger is at the front line in protecting natural resources and strives to ensure forest and allied resources are safeguarded and protected for the benefit of the present and future generations.
I would wish that we as Kenyans reconsider our thoughts, our previous perceptions about Kenya Forest Service and forest rangers, and actually consider that these are the people who don't sleep day and night. When you are enjoying your sleep, there's someone who is not enjoying his sleep. To protect that tree and that forest, to ensure that the water that you enjoy continue to trickle from our rivers. We are part of nature, and when you enjoy nature, always remember and celebrate Kenya Forest Service and the Forest Ranger.
We have witnessed numerous tree planting campaigns in the country that have seen Kenyans from all walks of life plant a tree or two. But planting of these trees is not enough. We need to protect these trees as well if the country is to achieve the 10% forest cover by 2022. And the protection of these trees will not be made possible without the help of our gallant forest rangers who go out of their way to ensure that the forest is protected. Reporting from Londiani Forest, I am Emily K. Bade.
Thanks, Emily, for that informative piece, and kudos to our men and women who even risk their lives to protect our forest. Moving on, the government has been challenged to devise strategies that will protect teenage girls during this pandemic period. Two non-governmental organizations, that is the Women Student Association and the Footprints Africa, warn if sound interventions are not put in place, the country stands to lose a generation of the girl child. This even as the country begins to experience a suspected second wave of COVID-19 infections, leaving the fate of learners hanging in the balance. Nachola Simon with the details.
As the government crafts a workable formula that will see schools fully reopen, even as a second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic threatens to scuttle the plans further, stakeholders now want the government to devise long-term strategies that will see the girl child protected. Women Students Association and the Footprints Africa warns that with the increasing cases of teenage pregnancies, there's need for urgent interventions to secure their future.
Statistics we have in our organization, girls have post-COVID, so many girls have not gone back to school. To be precise, we have lost around, in each sub-county, we have lost at least 575 girls. From the statistics we have in our organization, we have lost at least 575 girls in every sub-county in Busia County. So we are trying to ensure that these girls go back to school. And to ensure that they go back to school, what we are doing is we are following them up. We have people at the grassroots level. We are trying to follow them up through the local leadership to see what is going to be done so that all these girls come back to school.
They want the government to ensure all girls who have been impregnated or dropped out of school due to the pandemic traced and returned to their respective schools.
We are trying to also engage parents, tell them that it is a collective responsibility to ensure that girls, as they stay at home, they're trying to be a bit active, not idle, and parents are trying to interact with their kids so that they help them stay at home in a dignified way, or say in a respectable way, so that when they come back to school, we will not lose them to teenage pregnancies, we will not lose them to early marriages and other factors.
The two organizations spoke in Busia County, where they distributed books and sanitary towels to over 1,000 learners drawn from Butula sub-county.
These perpetrators sometimes are family members. They need to be empowered, they need to be protected. So we've empowered these girls to encourage those who are pregnant to bring these people who are getting them pregnant to book. Because minor pregnancies, in fact, you see a minor cannot consent to sex. Some of them are violated within the family setup. So they are afraid, if I go and speak, my dad is arrested and he's the brain winner, we're likely not to get food. So they are silenced by their moms, their aunties, and it's in the family setup.
According to the Department of Children's Services in the Ministry of Labor and Social Protection, Busia County reported 2,550 teenage pregnancies for the first 5 months of the pandemic, with the Butula sub-county registering the highest number of 517 girls aged between 10 and 19 impregnated during that period. Achola Simon for Lunchtime News from Kisumu County.
And on that note, we are taking our short, quick break. But before then, let me appreciate Toro Vitalis from Baringo County, Florence Ndora from talk about they should educate Kenyans from rural areas more about the BBI issue. Also, Vincent Oduori's twin from Kisumu, Hussein from Moyale, Justin Nyakundi watching and listening from Mombasa. Let's take that quick break. When we come back, more news including sports and a quick one. Arsenal has just bagged 3 points after beating Manchester United at Old Trafford 1-0.
The procedure of reporting assets to the Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority is simplified in the following easy steps. Step 1. Write an email to holders at ufaa.go.ke to request your profile to be created. Step 2. A link will be sent to the email provided for activation of the account. Step 3. Click on the link to activate the profile and change the password immediately. Step 4. For subsequent access, use the link provided here. In case of forgotten password, use Forgot Password link to create a new one. Step 5. After login, click on Assets to submit records, and if the client has subsidiary, you can create more users and manage users. Unclaimed Financial Assets Authority. Receive, safeguard, reunite.
KBC, in collaboration with the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, is broadcasting enhanced out-of-class learning on radio, television, and online. Catch the lessons every weekday on KBC Channel 1 from 2 to 4 p.m., on KBC English Service and 15 FM from 9:15 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Radio Taifa from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. KBC English Service, Radio Taifa, and 15 FM are also available countrywide on the free-to-air Signet digital TV platform, or log on to www.kbc.co.ke for live streaming, or download the KBC Online app on Google Play Store. Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, ensuring learning no matter what.
On the next episode of Corner.
I'll talk to Miss and then see what he thinks.
Have you been telling him everything that's going on with you, with us?
Hata kuna kakipunguo kengine nilipata hapo. Kifunguo, si ndio? Kifunguo. Kengine hapo hata sijui kanapungua nini. Sijui ni kanani. I don't know anything.
Usije ukafikiria sisi hatuko serious na wewe. Julia anafanya kazi ngumu sana kutafuta a big fight. Na najua itafanyika.
Ulipata hii wapi?
Hiyo imekuwa tu hapa kwa kiosk.
You've had this all along.
Next on.
You're going to be the sweetest wife and most loving in the world.
You suffer because of her? What a pity you don't understand that she's not worth it.
What did he do to you? Did he brainwash you or what?
Hey, none of the insults, Juana. She's also going to stop working at the shop.
You what?
Help me, please. Just speak to him. I need to know what he's thinking.
I just have to gain his confidence for him to let me run the repair shop completely.
That would be great, right?
Is Francisco pressuring you?
How dare you?
In love with Ramon.
People gonna say all kind of things about you.
Wait them on. Just shake up your man. Tumushiwa and done tumushiwa.
When your booty gon' show me now. Baby, one time. Bossy baby, give me 2 times. Full 180. Crazy.
botella, la botella. Let's go. Ha. I needed some with some bop in it. Mamacita, where you at? I've been trying to reach you. Choro, 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 choro. Get the pago, get the Pokemon, get the pago. Katoto shepu awe, ayawe, ayawe. Tekenya katoto, kamini tekenya, tekenya katoto.
Welcome back, and thank you so much indeed for keeping me company. And now to a really heartwarming story. The fortunes of a family of 9 in Dunduri Gwa-Kiongo area in Nyandarua County are celebrating answered prayers after a radio station owned by the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation responded to their distress call. Staff from Shoro FM visited the family of John Kamau and relocated them to a house complete with household goods and foodstuff as part of the corporate social responsibility.
Kenya Broadcasting Corporation's Shoro FM, a vernacular radio station which broadcasts in Kikuyu, is celebrating 20 years of existence.
God bless you so much.
To mark the milestone, the station embarked on a corporate social responsibility project to change the lives of a family of 9 in Nyandarua County. The fortunes of John Kamau and his family, who hail from Ndunduri Gwa-Kiongo area, have changed for the better.
In these 20 years, we have decided, as we cut the cake, as we do great things, it's important to remember that there are people who may not be able to celebrate with us.
A visit to their single-roomed rented madhouse revealed a life of squalor. Kamau's wife, Monica Ngina, says they have suffered for about 20 years, going for days without food, clothing and beddings. Courtesy of Shoro FM, they will from now henceforth live in a 4-bedroomed house with long-term plans to help the family acquire land and build their own home.
Leo nimefurahi sana juu nimekuja kutembelewa na Shoro FM. Na wamenifanya vizuri sana juu wamenisaidia. Leo nimefurahi sana juu nitakula na nitakunywa. Wakati nilisikia watu ya Shoro watakuja, nilifurahi sana na nikajua kweli Mungu amenionekania. Sasa wakati wa leo Shoro wako hapa na marafiki zake na Kenya Shoro walitoa, Mungu mwenyewe ndiye anajua na atawabariki.
Nashukuru Shoro kwa yale mmenifanyia na mmenitoa mahali nilikuwako na mkanileta mahali pengine. Mungu amsaidie sana, na ningeomba kama naweza pata kazi niwasaidie hao watoto yangu, nitashukuru.
Nyandarua County CEC for Social Services Ann Gadhigia hailed the move by Shoro FM, promising the county government will step in and help the family through bursary allocations for their children.
As a county, we have been trying to support those homes with food. We've been trying to support those homes with different amenities, but we cannot all be able to do it all. And therefore, that's why we need partners. And that's why we are grateful today for Shoro FM. We are very grateful, and the county government, under the leadership of His Excellency, the Governor Francis Kimemia, will continue to join hands with this family and all the other families across this county, from Kenton to Crampton, to support them in the best way that we can.
Kenya Broadcasting Corporation Chief Producer Regional Services Jane Mumbi says Shoro FM will continue helping vulnerable families from different regions through food donations and other vital services as they celebrate 2 decades of broadcasting.
We hope by the time we go to celebrate Shoro, she will also be celebrating having a home. This is what we are doing in our counties. This is what our reporters are doing in the counties. When they identify this kind of people, the Shoro team mobilizes the fans and the listeners, and we go to help these people.
The happy faces tells it all, and thank you to our crew who made time to visit that family. Well, moving on, the Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization is raising the red flag over circulation of pesticides that are harmful to the environment. Elsewhere in Taita Taveta County, the county government, in collaboration with the Kenya Forestry Research Institute and National Environment Management Authority, have rolled out a monthly environment cleanup program of all towns in the county. This and other stories in our county news briefs.
Speaking in Embu County during a week-long training of tomato farmers, the Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization scientist Agnes Ndegwa noted that pesticides that are harmful to the environment and human beings are being distributed by unscrupulous traders.
We are talking integrated pest management, where you start with other options, environmentally friendly cultural methods, botanicals. We have neem tree. Apart from being used as medicine for humans, they are also pest control products.
Elsewhere, in Taita Taveta County, the county government, in collaboration with Kenya Forestry Research Institute and National Environment Management Authority, have rolled out a monthly environment cleanup program of all towns in the county. The exercise is in line with the national policy of environment conservation.
Pangilio ambayo serikali kuu iko nayo kupitia kwa Wizara ya Mazingira na Usimamizi wa Misitu, huwa tunashikana kwa siku moja kila mwezi ili kufanya usafi katika maeneo mbalimbali.
Meanwhile, 400 self-help groups in 6 counties will benefit from the second phase of an economic empowerment program courtesy of the Safaricom Foundation and a non-governmental organization Hand in Hand East Africa. 12 million shillings project will support over 5,000 enterprises run by self-groups.
Our initial disbursement was for 10 million shillings, which was supposed to be given out in interest-free loans in 6 counties. What ended up happening is that the money ended up going to about 13 counties just because of the demand that was there.
And in Migori County, at least 10 people were injured and property destroyed when 2 rival youth groups warring over the leadership of Makalda gold mines clashed at an educational function at Makalda in the region. Area Member of Parliament Tom Odege condemned the act, terming it retrogressive and barbaric, adding that it's likely to derail the ongoing construction of Rongo University, which they had gone to inspect.
People are killing themselves because of that copper hill. From today, clear it. Until those people will come and tell you they're organized enough to work there. So that it runs through.
And finally, tea farmers in Kericho and Bomet counties have endorsed the Tea Regulations 2020 proposed by Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya. The farmers endorsed the regulations after a sensitization meeting in Kericho convened by Agriculture, Fisheries and Food Authority and Tea Directorate.
Time to play. We begin with the Rising Stars, where Kenya under 20 national team, the Rising Stars, and the members of the technical bench have undergone a mandatory COVID-19 test ahead of the Sekafa Under 20 Championships. The team reported to camp on Saturday and has scheduled a friendly match against Sudan in preparation for the regional showpiece.
Rising Stars, who are set to feature in the Sekafa Under 20 Championships, will play 2 friendly matches this Monday and on 5th at Kasarani Stadium. The team largely features players who featured for the Kenya Under-17 team at the 2019 Africa Under-17 Cup of Nations qualifiers and the Union of North African Federations Under-17 tournament in Egypt in 2019. Among them are Maxwell Mulili, Ben Vicente Otieno, Boniface Mwangemi, Alphonse Omija, Nicholas Omondi, Keith Imbani, Telvin Maina and Arnold Onyango. The Rising Stars are being pulled in Group C of the tournament alongside Ethiopia and Sudan. Group A is comprised of hosts Tanzania, Rwanda, Somalia and Djibouti, while Group B will have Burundi, Eritrea, South Sudan and Uganda. The championship is set to be played between 22nd this month and December 6th in Arusha, Tanzania. Frederick Muki for Channel 1 Sports.
And still on soccer, Kibra United, that features in FKF Nairobi West League, has unveiled a new kit ahead of their new season. The team received a boost after Area Member of Parliament Imran Okoth purchased the new jerseys worth $500,000 shillings in an effort aimed at promoting the club.
My presence here is to see that the partnership between Eclectics and the team from Kibra United, comes to reality. I'm a great fan of Kibra United, number one supporter, and that's why I'm here. I also want to appeal to the ministry, the CS of sports, Amira Mohammed, to sit down with the stakeholders, because you find a lot of our sportsmen and women have been affected with this pandemic. But again, also it is an opportunity for them to reflect on what's next. In a situation we get another pandemic like this, they must be cushioned in a way, but also as sportsmen and women, I want to urge them that they must also start getting other skills so that their lives are never interrupted again.
And AFC Leopards have completed the signing of winger Peter Thiongo from Kakamega Homeboys. The winger has spent a 2-year contract at the club. Njue has so far signed John Oyemba, Harrison Mwenda, Bienvenu Shaka, and Congolese midfielder Fabrice Mugeni. The team will start their campaign for their new season on 20th of this month with the match against Western Stima. On 28th, they will be away to league debutants Bidco United before they take on Zoo FC on 4th of next month. And on that note, we wrap up Channel 1 Weekend. Thank you indeed so much for watching, and also appreciate Soyet and Akoryet live from Bureti, Martin Kelson, you are on, Kenneth Kandie, Cheng Donovan, thank you so much. You don't have much time, but thank you for watching. My name is Bentro Njue. Byron Abuli has been our sign language interpreter for this evening. And indeed, tomorrow is another day. And I'm leaving you in the hands of Irene Mchuma Odim with the latest weather. Good night.
Good evening and a very warm welcome to Channel 1 Weather Updates. I hope you're well today. My name is Irene Mchuma Odim. There are scattered wet conditions across the country tonight. The only regions that are not experiencing wet conditions are the southeastern lowlands, the northwestern parts of the country, and the coastal strip, where there are partly cloudy conditions, and that is how the night will be. Tomorrow we're waking up to rains in Meru and Nyeri. The capital will be sunny. The northeastern parts of the country will mainly experience rains during the morning hours. There will be wet conditions over a few places in the county of Kisumu and especially around the lake. The northwestern will mainly be sunny. The coastal strip will experience scattered wet conditions. There will be rains in Garissa, the southeastern lowlands, that includes Machakos, Makindu, Voi, and Taita Taveta, will experience sunny intervals during the morning hours. In the afternoon, the southeastern lowlands will continue to be sunny. The northeastern will experience showers over several places, and these will affect Mandera, Marsabit, Wajir, Garissa. The northwestern parts of the country will experience sunny intervals. The Lake Basin region will experience showers accompanied by thunderstorms over a few places, and these will be limited to Kericho, Kisii, and Eldoret areas. Let's have a look at temperatures, and this is it. Mandera will experience highs of 34 degrees Celsius. Lodwar will experience highs of 35 degrees Celsius. And for us here in the capital, we're looking forward towards highs of 25 degrees Celsius. Let's now cross the borders and have a look at the international forecast. Do have a good night and a blessed day ahead.
Vera Beauty College.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College, with branches in Nairobi, Eldoret, Thika, and Meru. Did you know that we are a TVET approved institution? We offer courses in fashion design, interior design and soft furnishing, event decoration, flower arrangement, event planning, hairdressing, barbering and dreadlocks, beauty therapy, makeup, nail technology, spa massages, teaching skills, TOT, solo business management, and many more. Register now and visit our website on www.verabeautycollege.com. You can also call on 0725 923 550 Nairobi branch, 0728 087 689 Eldoret branch, 0722 227428 Thika branch, 0725 000-706 Meru branch. Vera Beauty and Fashion College, a TVET approved institution.